Hello and welcome back to the Happy Personal Tech YouTube channel. I'm your host, Max Tance. It's Thursday, so it's time for our next topic, Wi-Fi. The number one complaint I hear is about lousy Wi-Fi or a slow connection to the internet. Whether it's into an apartment or a house, there are a couple tips and tricks that you can do at home for free to boost your Wi-Fi speed. And first, let me say, my wife and I are both working from home, so if you hear funny baby noises from downstairs, that's an actual baby. Before we get to the tips and tricks on how to get faster Wi-Fi speed at home, I want to talk a little bit about the history of connections to the house. And I remember getting my first 4G telephone. Oh my gosh, it was lightning fast. I could download files so quickly. It blew my mind. And since then, we've all become accustomed to high-speed, always-on internet. And not only are we accustomed to it, but businesses and services online have become used to using that high-speed, always-on internet connection. I'm talking about our reliance on things that are always connected. We have a Wi-Fi thermostat. We have a Wi-Fi baby camera. All those things we use, we always want them on. I'm making this video this week for you. Besides being the number one topic I hear when I make house calls, people are working from home right now, and a fast connection makes a huge difference in how productive you can be, how much you can accomplish, and let's be honest, how much Netflix you can watch. So pre-COVID days, when we were out and about, I didn't even bother joining the Wi-Fi when I would go to a coffee shop or a restaurant, mostly for security reasons, but also because of mobile connection speeds. They're so speedy now, and in your car, we want it on and fast, but I'm digressing. I'll talk about security and virtual private networks maybe in week 7, that's down the road. But today we'll stick to Wi-Fi at home. Back in the day, the house was pre-wired. Our house was pre-wired with Ethernet, and we had apartments with Ethernet. That was like Cat 5. And you'd have to put your desk next to the wall with the Ethernet port so you could plug it in and have your computer connected. And that was nice, it's fast, right? But I would rather have invisible magic internet in the house. And along came Wi-Fi. You could put your computer or now your tablet or phone anywhere you wanted. You didn't have to be on that wall in the office next to the Ethernet port. So a few of my clients want improved Ethernet or wiring in their house. I don't bother with that now because modern routers are so fast and reliable. Again, I'm rambling. Today's topic though is boosting your Wi-Fi speed in the house. There are 3 things you have to worry about. One of them is out of your control. The first thing is, where is the information you want to view or download? Is it on a slow server somewhere off in the internet? You can't control that. Modern businesses like Amazon or Netflix have lightning fast servers. So you should be getting lightning fast content to your house. No big deal. And since you can't control that, I'm not going to discuss it. But the second of the 3 things, and the first thing you can control, is the speed of your ISP, your internet service provider. How much speed will you buy? Your provider may offer 25 or 50, 75, 100. And now most places can get even faster. I'm talking 200, 500, or gigabit, which is 1,000 megabits. Super fast. Do you need that? No. Can you use all that bandwidth? Probably not. You might be wasting your money. I advise my clients, don't buy anything more than 100 megabits. You probably don't need it. We have 100 megabits at our house. I don't advise my clients to spend any more money than that. And here's why. 100 megabits to your house is probably enough to stream 5 HD videos, I'm talking 4K, simultaneously. No big deal. So, since we're talking about speed into your house, let's take a break right now and find out how fast is your internet connection. So, if you have a browser on your computer or your phone, navigate over to google.com or just type in Google Speed Test. When that loads, we'll see how fast your connection. If you can keep up with my speaking, you have a fast connection. So, Google Speed Test, look for the blue rectangle that says Speed Test or something like that. Click on that. And you get a fancy little speedometer, like a little needle. It's going to go like this. Right now it's testing your download speed. So here I am doing this, and you can see my download speed. It's climbing. We should get about 100 megabits. That's information coming from the internet to your house. And you'll see there's also an upload speed. This is information from your house going to the internet. For example, if you're a video teleconferencing or you want to FaceTime or you have a video like a Zoom meeting or you're using Google Meets, whatever, Microsoft Teams, whatever, sending video is pretty bandwidth intensive. That's probably the most bandwidth intensive thing any of my clients do. That is the upload speed you're looking at. And we have a really slow upload speed here. We can both VTC at the same time, but anything more than that, and the people in our group might notice some latency. So this is the nature of cable. So we have Xfinity or Comcast, and that system was designed just to push information out from the cable company to the house. So you can see we have pretty good download speed, but our upload speed is mighty pokey. In fact, if I went outside with my cell phone, my iPhone here, I'd probably get a faster upload speed just using the cellular network. So that's a tip and trick for later on. But if your internet ever goes down, I'll show you how to tether through your iPhone so you can still connect all your devices to the internet. Okay, so you've checked your speed. That's the internet speed to your house. And again, don't bother paying for more than 100 megabits. That's fine, unless you find some wonderful introductory deal where they say you can have super fast speed for just $29 a month. Pounce on a deal like that. But in the long term, you don't have to pay for anything more than 100 megabits. Now, fast forward to the future and a rewind. This is 2020 right now, I'll probably look at this in 2022 and chuckle at myself saying, no one needs more than 100 megabits. Well, this year you do not. So that's the second thing to worry about. Remember, the first thing is the server on the internet. If you're downloading something from a legacy server or a company that doesn't have fast servers, there's nothing you can do to speed that up, but it's out of your control. The second thing is that pipe or bandwidth coming to your house. And we've just discussed that. You can buy more or save money and have less. But the third thing is now the network inside your house. I'm talking the Wi-Fi from your router. And if you have an old hub and spoke router, maybe a Linksys or something like that, I'm going to give you right now 3 things you can do to boost your speed. Now, these are not pretty to look at. And I used to keep mine, I put it behind my monitor. A lot of my clients stuff it behind their desk on the floor, and that just hampers your speed. Those things don't run well like that. So they send out a little signal, and if it's next to your feet, behind a desk, in a closet, it's not going to perform well. You're hurting your own bandwidth. You're hurting your own speed. Okay, I'm here beneath the desk. This is where you do not want to keep your router. Proximity matters. So if your router's beneath a desk, it's not going to get a good signal out to the parts of your house. Once you have your router up and out in the open, be close to it, okay? That's how you get the fastest speeds. If you're 5 feet away from your router, you'll get the fastest possible speed. But if you're 30 or 40 feet from the router, you'll get slower speeds. So once again, don't bury your router beneath your desk. So then the next thing someone does if they have slow Wi-Fi at home is they'll buy an extender or maybe they have bad Wi-Fi in the bedroom in the back, or it doesn't reach their backyard or part of their living room, whatever. They'll buy an extender. Now, most times these do not work well. They are affordable, right? They're cheap to buy and you just plug it in, it probably works, but they cause some problems and they usually don't work well. And I'll get to a client's house and they'll have a router buried behind the desk and a couple extenders throughout the house, and it's complicated. They may have another network name that ends in EXT or duplicate or similar network names. Then your devices may not know which network to connect, and it's a pain in the butt. These probably don't work. So let's talk about repositioning your router. You need to have this thing out in the open. Now, if it's a blue plastic box with funny antennas sticking around, it's not nice to look at on your mantle. But your router will work best when it's out in the open, step 1. And then 2, up high in the room or on the second floor of your house if you have a multi-story house. Or if you have an apartment, just put it on top of a bookshelf up high. I always think of them as like an umbrella. They're going to blanket beautiful Wi-Fi downward. And then step 3 is the orientation is important too. So they have lobing. It's not a beautiful sphere of Wi-Fi around your router. One side may be stronger than the other. So take your router. If it's out in the open and up high and you still have slow signal, just rotate it 90 degrees and see if that improves your speed. As you make these changes, go back to Google and do another Google speed test and see how that affects your download speeds. Step 1, out in the open, not buried behind a monitor. Step 2, up high in a room, so not on the floor. And step 3 is simply changing the orientation may boost your speed. All right, if you've used these 3 tips and tricks, there are a few other things to try. We can talk later about quality of service, device prioritization, or changing a channel or frequency. That's into the varsity router stuff. So I won't get into that in this introductory video for just Wi-Fi. If you have questions, just send me an email, max@happypersonaltech.com, or put your tech question or comment down below there in the comments. I'll look at those every day and try and get a great answer to you, but you can always just call me or text me. Also, my website, www.happypersonaltech.com. Okay, now, if you've got your router out in the open and it's off the floor up high, and you've changed the orientation, you're still not happy with the speed you're getting, you need to buy a mesh network, which is all I install now. I don't recommend my clients still buy the old school routers, the hub and spoke. And here's why. A, they're usually not as fast. And B, they may cost the same, but C, they're not nice to look at. You're going to hide it somewhere, and it's a bottleneck. So imagine all the devices in your house connecting to one point, going through one modem out to that is a bottleneck. Now, a nice mesh network, you get 2 or 3 routers placed throughout your house, and whichever device you're using should connect to the closest or strongest signal. We have a mesh system here. They are designed to be out in the open, so they're relatively attractive to look at. I recommend Google. Now, the newest one from Google, I don't recommend the newest model. I like their older model, and I'll tell you why. It's got Ethernet ports in each little router. So if you have extra things that you need to plug in, you may want to buy the older version of the Google router. Again, I'm getting into the weeds here. If you have questions, just send me an email or put your comments down below in the comments. So if your router is 4 years old, 5 years old, I guarantee you'll get a speed boost by upgrading. Okay, just a minute ago I mentioned QoS, quality of service or device prioritization. Let's talk about it's a movie night at the house and Netflix is buffering. You can tell your router, hey, the most important thing right now is my TV. Give that as much bandwidth as possible. Or if you've got a Tuesday morning meeting, you need to zoom in with some high quality video and you don't want it to be jerky or any latency, you can tell your router, prioritize my phone or my work computer, and that'll get the most bandwidth. And that'll kind of lower prioritize. It'll set your other devices to be a lower priority, and whatever you're working on gets the most bandwidth possible. Okay, so that's my introduction to Wi-Fi and 3 ways to boost Wi-Fi at home. Each week I want to give you a little bit more though. So this week's tip or trick is how to save money on the modem rental. So we didn't talk about modems too much yet. The cable company will want you to rent a modem. A modem is a required piece of equipment that sits between the internet in your house and your router. If you want more details, just ask me. But my point is, if you pay $15 a month to rent this thing, that adds up to $180 per year. If you have internet in your house, like we plan to have internet in our house forever, that'll be $360 of rental fees over 2 years. You can probably buy your own modem on Amazon for well under $100. So my advice is save hundreds of dollars a year, buy your own modem on Amazon, and tell the cable company, thanks, we don't want to rent this modem anymore, you can have it back. And again, if you have questions about which modem to buy for wherever you live or your provider, put your comments down below or send me an email, please. Each Thursday I tackle one new tech topic, but it's not just topics that I come up with. Put your tech questions in the comments down below, please. Also take a minute, if you like what I'm doing here, take a minute to like this video and subscribe to my channel, and that will tell YouTube that I've got good content. It would mean a lot to me. Thanks for watching the Happy Personal Tech YouTube channel, and I'll talk to you next Thursday.